sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. La 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 la. Oh, oh. Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights, turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar.
Good evening, everybody. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. We're going to talk about a missing med student, 27-year-old. I haven't listened to the whole video yet, but I knew that his first name is Brian. So we're going to listen to the Nancy Grace narrative and give her credit in her channel for reporting on this. And I'm going to do a reaction video on it. I've yet to listen to it or hear it. So I thought I'd do. Well, that's what happens when you push buttons and you go abracadabra. Anyways, if you're new to my channel, I hope that you find something that interests you and something that gets you to want to come back. I have different variations of things that you can dive into and even consume for knowledge basis or educational basis. I have a lot of different things on my channel. So here we go. Let's learn Brian's last name and let's learn where he's from and where he went missing and what happened. Here we go.
To celebrate completing his finals, and they had a steak dinner. He told his father that he had plans to go out that night with some friends. His father did not approve of those plans.
Wait a minute. Sorry, Sydney Sumner. Okay, he has dinner with his father Friday night, kind of celebrating the end of Ohio State University's semester.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is a medical student. He's brilliant. His family is so proud. So they're having a celebration meal. They go out in public to a restaurant. We know that witnesses spot him there. We know he's alive then. The father has no reason to lie, of course. So I can place him alive at what time, Sydney?
At 6 p.m., Nancy.
6 p.m. the dinner started or ended?
I would assume started.
Started at 6 p.m. Okay, go forward.
So from there, Brian goes back to Columbus, about a half-hour drive, and at 9 p.m. he meets his former dorm mate, William Clint Florence, at the Ugly Tuna Saloona. So this is the first time he's seen out with his friends, 9 p.m.
Okay, hold on. And I've got that on video. Let's check out the video. We obtained the surveillance video of him going to the bar, meeting up with his friends. It's a big night. They are just
Okay, so let's recap. He met up with his father at 6 p.m. to celebrate graduation, you know, ending of the semester. And then he went to hang out with a friend at 9 p.m. And this is the first sighting that they have on this camera to show them meeting up with his friend. So nothing nefarious at this point.
finishing classes. This is at the Ugly Tuna Saloon. It's a bar near OSU, Ohio State University campus there in Columbus. Let me remind everybody there was a $100,000 reward for information leading to the discovery of Brian's whereabouts. So we see him. Let me see the escalator video one more time, please. Take a look. There he is. We've got him highlighted for you. There's the escalator. Wait for it, wait for it. And there he is at the top of the escalator going up. Getting off the escalator. That's him right there on the left. See him coming up? Perfectly happy, at ease. He's not looking behind him. Look to the right, look to the right. There he was. Meeting with friends, jovial, happy, was just with his dad. Nothing is amiss. What happens then, Sydney Sumner?
So right there, he just either before he got on the escalator or once he got off the escalator, he's hanging out, hanging out. I don't see anything nefarious. One guy obviously happy. There's looks like security guards or even police officers right there. So, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary, it looks like at this point.
So from the Ugly Tuna Saloon, Florence and Schaefer start going to different bars in the area. So they spend a couple rounds at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, and then they move on and they're bar hopping for several bars. And they end up in the Arena District where they meet with Florence's friend, Meredith Reed. With Reed, they have another round of drinks.
Got it.
Okay, here's the timeline. So at 9 p.m., Brian and a friend meet at the Ugly Tuna Saloon. What a cool name. At 10 p.m., Brian calls his girlfriend. At 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., Brian and a friend bar hop. They're going from bar to bar, drinking and having a good time, preferably. 12 a.m., Brian and a friend return to the Ugly Tuna. This is 3 hours after they officially started there. 1:15 a.m., surveillance, Brian entered the bar. So from 12 to 1:15 a.m., were they on their way? Were they in an Uber? What happened in that hour and 15 minutes? And at 1:55 a.m., surveillance, Brian speaks with two women. And according to that, he vanishes.
Question for you, Sydney Sumner. So they're pub crawling. They leave the Ugly Tuna and meet up with other friends. During that time, he calls the girlfriend. 10 p.m., we've got a confirmed call from Brian. He's alive. 10 to 12 a.m., 10 p.m., 12 a.m., they pub crawl. Now, yes, I can establish him alive at 12 a.m. when he goes back to Ugly Tuna, but in the interim between 10 and 12, is anybody following him? Do we see him get into an argument with anyone at a bar? Anything unusual, Sydney Sumner?
Nancy, no, there isn't. There is no report of anything unusual, and the two men are still happy, jovial, having a good time when they run into Meredith Reed.
Okay, let's look at that timeline again. This guy seemingly goes into a bar and is never seen alive again. 12 a.m., they're bar hopping. 12 a.m., Brian and friend return to Ugly Tuna. All right. 1:15 a.m., we see Brian entering a bar. Which bar is that, Sydney Sumner?
This is the Ugly Tuna. So that 1:15 a.m. surveillance footage is of Meredith, Brian, and William, Clint, returning to the Ugly Tuna Saloon together at 1:15 a.m. That's when we see Brian on that surveillance video for the first time coming up that escalator. So the three enter the bar, there's a band playing. It's already 1:15. The bar's closed at 2. So they are here for one last round. They're going to spend about 45 minutes in the bar. At 1:55, we see Brian again on that right side of the screen, and
That's a fancy bar with escalators. I mean, I've never been to a bar like that. But I was assuming this was the first time he went to the Tuna Saloon, but this was the last sighting of him. This was the last call of the night. This is when they spot him there for the last time. I wish they'd be more clear about that. They showed the footage earlier like that was the first time that the camera caught him on video, and this is the last sighting, according to this lady.
he's standing just outside the entrance of the bar, and he speaks with 2 women for just a few minutes, and then he walks off camera back towards the entrance of the bar. So you would assume it's 1:55 a.m. He's trying to meet back up with his friends, Reed and Florence, but they don't find him. At 2 a.m., they're standing outside the
Okay,
entrance.
hold on
They're
just a
watching
moment. I want to
people.
analyze what you told me so far. So he's there with Meredith. It's Meredith, Brian, and who's the third?
William Clint is his nickname. William Clint Florence.
And who is he?
He was Brian Schaefer's former dorm mate. So they're really close friends. They roomed together freshman year of college.
No bad blood.
No, none whatsoever.
Okay. Let me look at that video again. The reason that Sydney Sumner is saying 45 minutes, they're going to stay there 45 minutes. How do we know that? Because the bar closes at 2. It closes at 2 a.m. You're looking at video surveillance footage. Highlighted for you is Brian Schaefer. Now, Sydney, is this just outside the bar? Is it the foyer? Where is this?
Yes, so this is just outside the entrance of the bar. So you take this escalator up to the second floor. You can get to several businesses on that second floor. And the entrance of the Ugly Tuna is just behind that escalator. So when we see Brian standing to the right of the escalator in this footage, that's just outside the entrance of the bar.
Okay. We know he's going to be there at most 45 minutes because right now what you're seeing is 1:15 a.m. And he knows the bar closes at 2. So Sydney Sumner, are his friends Meredith and William inside the bar at the time we're
Yes.
seeing him on surveillance video?
Yes, so we see the 3 of them, the trio, enter the bar together. And then at some point, Schaefer gives them some privacy. We're not sure if they just got separated, if he found some friends that he wanted to chat with, or if maybe these 2 were kind of on a date and he was giving them some alone time. So Schaefer separates from Reed.
Well, it looks like he's not a small guy. He looks pretty tall. I mean, standing next to a lot of those people, I mean, you're seeing this at an angle, obviously, but he looks like he stands out. It's not like he mingles in with the crowd and you're going to miss him. You know what I mean? It's not like a whole crowd of people go out of the bar and he's going to be the same size and you're going to miss him leaving. He is taller. He had a broader stature. And like I said before, there was policemen or security right here by these stairs when you see this other still shot.
And Florence, who stay together the entire time they're at the Ugly Tuna Saloon. And they are
Okay,
supposed
wait a
to
minute.
join
So
back
are
up to be
Meredith
together.
and William a couple?
No, that has not been confirmed. They are just friends.
Then why would he want to give them alone time?
I'm not sure. Maybe, again, like we said, we saw him chatting with those 2 women outside the bar. So maybe he ran into some friends that he knew from class and decided, hey, I want to say hello to them. So I think that's what happened.
Okay, got it. Now, let me understand something. Guys, you're hearing crimeonline.com investigative reporter Sydney Sumner. And we're looking at video footage, surveillance footage of Brian. And the 2 people with...
Well, during that that footage right there, he doesn't appear to be stumbling. He doesn't appear to lose his balance. He looks pretty coherent. I mean, he doesn't appear to be belligerent. You know, like the other guy was waving his arms up in the air and this and that and the other. This guy right here earlier, he just chill. And then he stepped back and just stands there for a minute. And like I said, here's some police or security. They had to notice him. If they didn't, I wonder why they didn't. You know what I mean?
With him in that video, Sydney, are Meredith and William.
What we're seeing right now, that highlighted portion on the right, those are two women that Schaefer was not out with that night. They may have been classmates. So coming up the escalator, yes, that is Schaefer and Florence. Yes, that's Schaefer, Florence, and Reed right there.
Yes. Okay. Move the video back, if you don't mind, control room, to him outside speaking with the two women. Sydney Sumner, you're saying he sees these two women, they're laughing, they're talking, and it looks as if the three of them go back into the bar, Sydney.
Correct, Nancy. It looks like Schaefer walks off camera back towards the entrance of the bar. And it's 1:55 a.m. at this point. So I think Schaefer is looking to meet back up with Reed and Florence, say his goodbyes before they part nights for the evening. They know they have 5 minutes until this bar is closing.
Okay, and we do know, can we confirm Meredith and William are in the bar?
Okay, if they have 5 minutes before the bar closes, why are they heading back into the bar? I mean, usually last call is at 1:30. You know, that's when everybody starts calming down. They start ushering you out. The lights come on. And then, you know, they usher you out. So why would he be going back into the bar? I don't get that.
Yes, they waited for Schaefer outside the bar for minutes and minutes and minutes. And eventually they assumed that Schaefer just went home. His apartment is located just 6 blocks away from this gateway building where the Ugly Tuna Saloon is located. So they assumed that it got late and he just started walking by himself.
Joining me right now, in addition to Sydney Sumner,
you know, that's one thing I don't understand, and I never really will understand it, is how your friends can just leave you alone once you go somewhere with them. Like, we've heard of a couple cases where the friends lost contact with the person and the person ended up dead. Riley Strain, the Lady Bird Lake situations, you know, and it's just so weird that your friends are just like, okay, you're cool, go on. I mean, I guess times are different, because back in the day, even though you were guys, you went to the bar together, you left together, at least you went to the car together and you said, okay, if you're going to go with this girl or whatever, at least we made it to the car. We know that you made it out of the bar. You're out here. Peace out. We'll see you in the morning. Let us know if you need anything. Nowadays, it's like, you know, everybody for themselves, and people are going missing. Let's see what this guy got to say.
The technology to be able to fake that video didn't exist during that time period. So I think we have to rely on the fact that that video was actually correct and true. And the police have never said it's not.
A night out with friends turns into a nightmare when promising young med student Brian Schaefer disappears.
By all accounts, Schaefer goes right back in the door into the Ugly Tuna Saloon. And you can see him following the two women. He meets just outside the door, and there's only one place to go, going in that direction, into the bar. No one disputes that. Oh, wait, how did we get here? In order to evaluate a missing person or a murder case, you start with knowing your victim, everything you can find out about the victim. It may have a huge impact on where they are and what happened to them. So who is Brian Shaffer? Listen.
Brian Shaffer grows up in Baltimore, Ohio with his younger brother, Derek. After graduation, Shaffer stays close to home for college, pursuing a degree in microbiology at the University of Ohio. Randy and Renee Shaffer couldn't be more proud when their oldest son decides to attend medical school at his alma mater. In Brian Shaffer's second year, his mother diagnosed with a rare blood cancer. 3 weeks before spring break, Renee succumbs to the disease. While her death is hard on Shaffer, 27, friends say he seems to be handling it well.
The apple of his parents' eyes, Brian Shaffer seemingly goes into a bar, and no one is disputing that. There he is with mom, and he never comes out. He vanishes. Impossible. There's got to be a logical.
Okay, Nancy, he goes into the bar, but never comes out. Where did he go? Did he go out the back door? Is he in the bathroom? But, where did he go? He never comes out of the bar. That's what you're saying. So he went in, but never came out. So where is he? Did they search the bar? Did they search the alleys? Did they search around the bar? How did that happen? How did that happen?
Explanation about what happened to Brian Shaffer. Straight out to Matthew Mangino, high-profile lawyer, joining us, former prosecutor, author of The Executioner's.
I don't really want to listen to these panel guests. I want to hear about the situation here.
Outside the door, walking toward the door, they're coming out, they're waiting for him. What transpires in those 5 minutes? That, I think, is the answer, to this mystery. What did anybody else see?
Well, the other thing is, I agree with you. Let me go straight out to Steve Fisher joining us, missing person private investigator, and you can find him at searchinvestigations.org. Steve, thank you for being with us. Listen,
thank you.
The guys with the two women go into the bar. He's following along behind him, and no matter how much I have scoured through witness statements and other surveillance video in the area, Ugly Tuna's not the only one with a security cam. There's no evidence at all he ever leaves the bar. How do you explain that?
It's literally like he turned into a ghost. I mean, as an investigator, this has everything that you want. Like you mentioned, it has surveillance of all the entrances and exits, including the back one, and all the surrounding businesses have surveillance. He's not captured on any of it. It's bizarre. I mean, he left. I mean,
it's extremely bizarre, Steve. And again, and I'm going to touch on.
Well, I mean, how could they get that he went back into the bar? He looks like he backs away from these women, like he's talking to that one, and then she moved forward, and he goes around her, and he just stands there, and then it cuts off. Unless they saw more of the surveillance video than what they're showing us. But look here. It's like all these crimes that have been happening lately, it's like the police are not far away. And yet, the crime still happens. In the Raleigh Strain case, the policeman missed him by, what, minutes? Investigating that truck that was broken into? Missed him by minutes. And he ended up dead. I don't know about coincidences. I mean, it's just weird how these things play out.
Later, this is not the first time I've had a case where someone enters a building and is never seen alive again. But okay, when you don't know which way to go and you're not getting anywhere, everything is muddled, you start over and re-examine what you know. Listen,
Brian Schaefer makes the 30-minute drive from Columbus to celebrate the start of spring break with a steak dinner at his father's house. Over dinner, Brian excitedly discusses his upcoming vacation to Miami with girlfriend Alexis Wagner. Brian plans to propose. Brian also mentions his plans to go out that evening with former roommate William Clint Florence. Randy Schaefer thinks Brian should be resting after a long week of exams, but doesn't try to sway his son from his celebrations.
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. If you're on the go, catch us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all of our content where we, in our own way, seek justice. Beloved football star O.J. Simpson, that did not happen. It did not happen. Don't you know that one of them would have made a deal with a publisher by now, a $2-3 million deal to tell the truth about the murders? Same thing here. Why do conspiracy theorists do what they do?
Well, Nancy, think about who conspiracy theorists are. There are always people out there that live on the fringes, that they want to come up with the craziest, most off-the-wall idea that they can, sometimes in the hopes of their own notoriety. And that's why I believe conspiracy theorists exist. And then unfortunately, with some conspiracy theorists, they become delusional and they believe what they're saying and they go down a rabbit hole and they stay there. But when you think of the continuum of the types of people that exist on the earth, not everybody falls under the bell curve. And so there are always people on the edges of the bell curve that want to think of the craziest scenarios that they can.
Yeah, well, you can't put that in front of a jury. Guys, local police dotted their I's and crossed their T's. Listen.
Columbus PD polygraphs those who last saw Brian Schaefer, including Randy Schaefer and Meredith Reed. Both pass and are cleared as suspects. However, Clint Florence refuses to submit to the lie detector test. Investigators theorize that perhaps Brian Schaefer, still grieving the death of his mother, left town for some solitude. But with no activity on his cell phone or bank accounts, there's no indication to where he might have gone.
Okay, that's BS right there. He did not leave town for alone time. He just met with his father for dinner. He would not have done that to his father. There's no indication that happened. More conspiracy theories. No ATM use, no credit card use, no nav on his car. Nothing to support that theory. But listen to this weird fact.
Alexis Wagner calls Brian Schaefer's cell phone at least once a day before going to bed, at most hoping he might answer, at least getting to hear his voicemail. 6 months after his disappearance, Schaefer's voicemail doesn't immediately play. Instead, the phone rings 3 times. Wagner immediately reports it to police, and investigators find that the phone pinged in Hilliard, a suburb of Columbus, 14 miles northwest. Schaefer's cell phone company says the activity is likely just a glitch, but family and friends hope it is an indication that Brian is alive.
Holding on to any scintilla of evidence that Brian could be alive, the theories that he is alive only deepen after this.
2 years after Brian Schaefer's disappearance, a large storm blows through Baltimore, Ohio. Randy Schaefer tries to cross his yard to retrieve something from his tool shed when a tree branch snaps, hitting him and killing him. Days after his death, Randy Schaefer's online obituary gets a comment reading, "I love you, Dad. Love, Brian, U.S. Virgin Islands." Investigators believe they've gotten their break. Did Schaefer leave the country and start a band? Plans he had jokingly mentioned to med school friends? The message turns out to be a cruel hoax, leading only to yet another dead end.
You know, I could spend a whole hour talking about what jackass did that, writing a note from Brian on his online obituary to his father. That said, another dead end. I keep talking about another case where someone goes in a building and never comes out. I'm talking about Annie Lee. Listen.
When police learn Annie Lay was never seen leaving the Amistad Street building, they must assume Lay is still inside. Investigators comb the building, discovering bloody clothes hidden above a ceiling tile. 3 days after Annie Lay is reported missing, and the day of her planned wedding, Lay's body is found stuffed in a cable chassis in a basement laboratory. Lay had been strangled.
Wow.
A 27.
So it just continued to go over it. Let me just go ahead and highlight the. Well, I was going to highlight the tip line if I could find it. It's just interesting to me that he went into the bar and never came out. How'd that happen, guys? How'd that happen? He had so much stuff to look forward to. He was about to get married, finishing med school, gonna be a doctor or a surgeon or something. And he goes missing. Just crazy to me. Just crazy. It doesn't make sense one bit. Well, thank you so much for spending a little time with me. I saw this earlier. I didn't realize it was an older case. I thought it was something new, but regardless, it's a missing persons case. So you guys kind of go in and use your sleuth goggles if you can see or hear anything different than I saw or heard. The tip line is in the video, so if you get any tips, be sure that you notify authorities of what you may find or know. Or if you know anything about his disappearance, please let authorities know. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you soon. Maestro, cue that music.
Yeah. Unknown Brain. Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to